Hello everyone, and welcome to today's class. Today we'll be working in the hip region, exploring some postures that will get deep into the hips. We'll also be working on building strength with some classic holds. There's also a super fun and challenging transition sprinkled in. Let's get right to it. We'll begin today in Tadasana at the top of the mat. Shoulders roll back, crown of the head stays lifted, chin stays gently tucked. Palms of the hands are facing forward. Take a few breaths here. Just start moving inwards to the breath. And we'll begin to flow. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, step it back, come all the way down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll stay here for a few deep breaths. Bending through the knees if you need to, maybe shaking the head, yes and no. Making sure the neck is relaxed. And really pressing through the fingertips. Next inhale, let's gaze between the hands, halfway lift, look up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. And again, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, plant the hands. And either come down to the knees or come down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's step the left foot through, pivot on the right, come into our warrior two stance. Gaze comes over that front middle finger, front knee tracking over the front ankle. Keep the core engaged, belly draws to the spine as we lift the head. Inhale, press through that front knee. Send the hips back. Let the front hand fall, triangle position. Gaze comes either in front of you or up to that top hand. Micro bend in that front knee. Next exhale, cartwheel the hands, frame the foot. Down through chaturanga, upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Switching sides, step it up with the right foot, pivot on the left, warrior two. Squeeze those thighs, squeeze the groin muscles up together to find lift. Next inhale, straighten the front knee. Exhale, reach that right arm forward and let the arm fall down to the mat for a triangle. Making sure we're keeping that whole body in one plane. So as if we're in two planes of glass. Next exhale, frame the foot, plant the hands, come down through your vinyasa. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze between the hands, step up, look up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, arms come up overhead. And exhale, hands through heart center. Surya Namaskara B. Toes come to touch, bend through the knees. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, come down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Stepping up with the right foot this time. Let's pivot on the left, coming into our warrior one. Wait for the inhale. Reach the arms up overhead. Really squeeze the belly here. Reach the spine long. Making sure our pelvic bone is staying neutral here. Hips are square, facing forward. Exhale, frame the foot. Come down through your vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog. And we'll switch sides. Inhale that left foot up, pivot slightly on the right, wait for the inhale, arms come up overhead, And exhale, sink into the hips. Try to keep that front knee tracking over the front ankle. Shoulders and hips stay square to the front of the mat. Inhale to reach. And exhale, plant the hands, frame the foot, come down through your vinyasa. Once again, meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze between the hands, step up, look up, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sink the hips, bend the knees, arms come up. Exhale, straighten it out, release the hands. Inhale, back to chair. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, come down through your chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Gaze comes between the hands. Step that right foot up. We'll drop the back knee. Inhale the arms up, coming into our low lunge. So really sinking into the hips here. We want to draw the belly to the spine, keeping the core engaged. Finding lift through the spine as we send that front left hip, the hip flexor forward. Inhale, send the hips back, roll the right toes up, half splits. Reaching the chest down towards the shin. Doesn't matter how far it goes. Next inhale, let's send the hips forward. This time we're going to send the knee over the ankle. This is really going to get into that hip flexor on the left side, and it's going to help with our ankle mobility on the right side. So keeping the torso up straight. Once again, squeeze through the belly, keep the core strong. And then we'll send the hips back, just step it back to downward facing dog, pedaling it out for a sec. And we'll get set up for the second side. So inhale, step that left foot between the hands, drop the back knee, untuck the toes, arms come up high. Exhale, sink into those hips, low lunge, opposite side. Trying to keep that right hip drawing forward, left knee stays over the left ankle. Inhale to reach, and exhale, send the hips back, draw those left toes up, half splits, second side. Slight bend in that front knee, and really reaching that chest forward down towards the shin. Inhale, walk the hands forward, send the front knee over the front ankle, bring the hands up onto the thigh. It's a bit of a variation on our low lunge. And work on pressing that back foot into the mat to see if you can find a little more lift. Inhale, step it back to downward facing dog. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze comes between the hands, step up, look up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sink the hips, bend the knees, arms come up. Exhale, straighten it out, and release the hands. Take a moment here in Tadasana. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, plant the hands. This time we'll stay up in plank, and we'll just come slowly down to the belly. So with control, slow as you can, come all the way down. Keep the hands either underneath the shoulders, or you can keep them by the ribs, and we'll pulse up for 1, for 2, and for 3. Last one, try to just do it without the hands. So pulse up and then lift the hands off the mat. Hold here, really pressing those hips into the mat. And exhale, release. Hands come down by the side. Take a moment here before we set up for locust. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, squeeze and lift. Legs come up as well, really squeezing through that lower back. See if you can inhale, bring some extra lift. Exhale to hold. Release down. And let's press it all the way back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step up to the top of the mat, look up, exhale to fold. Inhale, arms come up overhead, and exhale, hands through heart center. Let's take a big step back with the right foot. Find your balance here, and we'll come into a high lunge. So pivot onto the ball of the back foot, inhale, arms come up, and exhale, sink into the hips. Right hip is drawing forward, and that core is engaged. Inhale, if you like a little challenge, add a little back bend here, just a mini back bend. Make sure we're not straining that neck, so keep the neck nice and relaxed here. And then exhale, we'll just step to the top of the mat, give it a little shake before we switch sides. Inhale, step that left foot back this time, come onto the ball of the foot. Find your balance, reach the arms up overhead, and then as we exhale, we sink into those hips. Once again, keeping that core engaged and the crown of the head lifted. Inhale brings you lift, and exhale, sink a bit deeper. We'd like to add on, inhale, reach those arms back just a little bit. Mini back bend. And make sure we're still sinking into those hips. Release down, plant the hands, and we'll come down through chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Inhale, let's step up, look up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up, and exhale, hands through heart center. All right, so as promised, we have a fun transition. So you might want to move a little bit back on your mat, depending on what your space looks like. And we're going to start by coming into dancer. So let's send the weight into that right foot. Find a spot to focus ahead of you. Wait for the next breath, and then we'll reach the arm for the back of the foot. Press the hand into that left foot, come into dancer. Try to keep our shoulders as square as we can. And find that spot of focus to hold. Micro bend in that bottom knee. And then slowly as we exhale, let's transition in to eagle. So wrap the left leg around the right. Take your time, find your balance. And then the right arm comes underneath the left. Inhale, lift the hands. Sink into the hips. Hold here. Inhale, straighten through the leg. With control, come back to standing. Give yourself a moment here before we set up for the second side. Next inhale, let's shift the weight into the left foot. Exhale, reach the right arm back for the right foot. Find your balance, take your time. And then as we press through that right foot, we pull with that right arm, creating a little bit of resistance. If you wobble out of it, just come right back into it. Find that spot of focus. Next inhale, release the foot. Slowly wrap it around the left leg. Sink the hips, come into eagle on the opposite side. Left arm comes underneath the right. Send the elbows up, sink the hips down. Breathe. Inhale, stand up. With control, plant the right foot. Awesome work. We'll stay here for one breath before we come down through Malasana. So let's widen the feet, toes point outwards. Inhale. Exhale, sink the hips down. And we'll hold here in Malasana. Keeping the spine long and pressing the arms, the elbows to the knees. Trying to elongate the spine, keeping the core strong. Next exhale, let's just roll onto the sit bones. And we'll bring the soles of the feet together for bound angle. Inhale to straighten the spine, and then maybe exhale, reach a little bit forward. Try to roll forward on the pelvic bone here, so we're not rounding through the back. Keeping the back as long and as tall as we can. Maybe reaching the hands out to the side and sending the chest down just a little bit further. Inhale, come back up through center. We'll just shuffle the knees side to side. And we'll drop the knees over to the left side for 90-90. So making two 90-degree angles with the knees. Sitting up nice and tall here. Let's challenge ourselves here to lift that back right foot. So we'll do it 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we'll switch sides. So roll the knees over to the opposite side. Two 90-degree angles. Sit up tall. And then we'll add on with our challenge here. Try to lift that back foot off of the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Doesn't matter how high it comes. Inhale back to center, and we'll set up for pigeon on the right side. So bring that right shin forward. You can either be sitting on the heel or keep it parallel with the front edge of the mat. Left leg extends back. Inhale, keep it active, roll the shoulders up and back, and lift the head. We'll come into some pigeon dips here. So let's inhale nice and tall. And then as we exhale, raise the hands off the mat, dip the chest down for 1, 2, nice slow controlled movements, and 3. Hold here, and come back up through center. Next inhale, let's bend through that back knee and reach for that back foot. So it's up to you if you want to come into mermaid, if you have that in your practice, but we're going to just grab the back ankle with both arms today, just coming into a one-legged pigeon. So reach with those back arms, press the foot and press the hands away, and press that chest forward, hips pressing down. Next inhale, let's release the leg, see if you can hang on to it. Bring that left foot up for heron pose, so outstretched in front of you, micro bend in the front knee. Exhale, place that left shin down, and we'll switch sides, so pigeon on the opposite side. Right leg comes back. Active pigeon, inhale the chest up, roll the shoulders back. Hold here. And let's come into some dips. So inhale, roll the shoulders up and back, lift the hands, exhale forward. Inhale to lift, exhale forward. Inhale, lift, exhale forward, hold, and inhale, come back up. Might need to adjust the front shin, tuck it in a little bit more. We'll reach for the back foot. Press the foot, press the hands away. Micro bend in the chest, give me a little back bend. Head and neck are relaxed. Next inhale, let's reach that right leg forward. So see if you can bring it all the way in front of you for heron pose. Outstretched, grabbing onto the foot, knee stays slightly bent. Exhale, release the foot, and we'll just roll all the way back down. Plant the right foot, left ankle comes over the right knee. Draw the right knee to the chest. Figure 4. Keep that Keep the hips pressing down towards the mat, shoulders pressing down to the mat. Plant through the right foot, send the hips over to the left, and we'll try and plant the left foot on the floor, coming into our twist. Option to bring that gaze over the left shoulder. The left shoulder stays planted. Inhale back to center, and we will switch sides. Plant the left foot, right leg crosses over, and we'll reach that knee up towards the chest. Starting to slow down the breathing. Plant through the left foot, send the hips over to the right, and see if you can plant that right foot on the floor beside you. Coming back through center, let's hug the knees into the chest. Give ourselves a big hug. And start rolling up towards seated. Taking your time to get there. Finding a comfortable seat, sit up tall. Hands can come to the knees. Softly close the eyes. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up in today's practice. And we'll close the practice with one big sigh. So exhale all the air out. Big inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. That's all for our practice today. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.